G'day and welcome to Kenty Prime Time. We're back for 2026 with a special episode tonight with two of my good friends, Chimes and Kenty. Welcome.
Great to be here. Yeah.
No off-season, boys, in rugby league.
Rugby league never sleeps. There's plenty going on and plenty more to come.
So what did you do, Chimes? What did you do in your...
I tried to save the game over the off-season, but I can't do it
while almost killing it.
No, pretty quiet. Some time with family. A little bit of a break. Yeah, had a beer or two over the break. It's been good, mate, but looking forward to the new year.
Very good. And Kenty? Went away on the Kangaroo Tour?
Went away on the Kangaroo Tour, had a good time. Got cancer, wasn't so good. And then other than that, mate, I've been head down.
It's been normal.
It's
been normal.
Pretty normal existence for me, yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. So you went away on the Kangaroo Tour.
Yep.
You're feeling a bit out of sorts over there, were you?
Yeah, well, you obviously saw me, mate. I was surprised. I kept thinking I had, as I was getting older, jet lag was getting to me because got to 9 o'clock every night and I was exhausted, wanted to go to bed, which is unlike me.
You still gave it a good nudge.
Oh, mate, I tried my best to, but yeah. And anyway, so it was a bit of a different sort of tour for me. That all said, I thought the Kangaroos were pretty good. I thought Great Britain are in trouble, or England are in trouble as a rugby league nation.
Why do you think that?
I just think they're a poor copy of Australian rugby league. It's fascinating, you think about this, right? So I was talking to a few guys the other day. The modern template for rugby league is all built around the spine. And every team plays the same way. Now, the reason it's built around the spine is because in 2010, roughly, halfbacks have always been important. So let's not try and go down that argument. A good hooker's been great, but there's been other fairly stand-up and hookers who haven't been terrific, been in great sides. But you've had halfbacks have always been important. 5'8" less so, but the 5'8" could forgive a bad halfback. Fullbacks were good, but they weren't a necessity, so to speak. Your centres were, you could argue, were as important as a fullback was back in the day. Then the model changed in 2010 when Melbourne got busted cheating the cap. Now, the NRL didn't allow Melbourne to take pay deductions. They had to stay on what they were on, and what they were on had to fit in under the cap. That meant they had to then get rid of players. One of the superstars being Greg Inglis, because in Melbourne's plan, they couldn't put a player or afford a player on that much money to be playing centre. So they kept Billy Slater, Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk in the 179 jumpers. And Craig Bellamy, because he's a very good coach, built his team around that structure. I've got 3 superstars, and the rest are just going to be tradesmen. Guys who do their tackles, make their runs, train hard, fit, all that. But the rest of the squad was fairly pedestrian. Like Brian Norrie, without trying to put a knock on him, came out of bush football and had a decorated career. But he fitted into that system. But after that, everyone said, okay, we need this ourselves. We need to have a spine. We need 1, 6, 7, 9. But what you've got now is these teams who cannot have that quality in those positions, yet they're still trying to play the same football. And that happens across the NRL. And I don't know why a coach is not coming in and saying, we don't have a representative calibre halfback and hooker or fullback, so we're going to try and play a little bit differently. Our strength is in our pack, and have it as a pack, not just have 2 front rowers and a couple of wide running back rowers. You basically could be centres. And England are a poorer version of that. They just try to play the Australian way of football. Back in the day, Chris Anderson, when he went over there for captain coach Halifax, they had a completely different style of football. Chris Anderson actually brought the English style back and put it into Canterbury and won comps with Canterbury with that, and Melbourne with that flat style attack that he tried to play. But their style of footy over there worked for them, and they were successful at it. They weren't at that level at that point internationally successful, but they were for many years leading up to that. Yet everything over there now is you watch is basically failed Australian players or guys who can't make it in the Australian competition trying to play the Australian way, wondering why they can't beat Australia.
Have no strike, did they? Absolutely no strike.
They did. Well, we sat there for a couple of games and it was hard to get excited.
Yeah,
watching them with the ball, the Australians were shelling peas trying to defend against them. So Yeah, and the other, I think, big problem over there is this denial that there is a problem. That's the other part that they won't acknowledge.
Well, there's whispers around that Shane Richardson might be heading over there in a CEO position. Chimes, you know anything about that?
I've heard the rumours. I don't know if they're true.
Is he the man for the job, you think?
Oh, Richo could do it. Richo will bob up somewhere. But
He's a great survivor.
Yeah, and a good administrator. He'll find something. I don't know. I think it'll depend on how quickly the NRL may push towards taking over, if that's what they're going to do. I think they're probably going to wait till it hits ground zero before they go.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, I was speaking to a bloke the other day, who's got a little bit of a connection with the French side of the game, and they're already trying to find buyers for their clubs, and I can't quite see the business playing it. I don't know whether...
I heard the same thing. Catlins were trying to sell half their...
Yeah.
Half a private investment or something.
Yeah, but where's the value in...
Yeah.
Well, that's the return. Well, it depends. And that's the gamble there is if the NRL buy the competition.
Correct.
Now, it's worth $20 million a year or £20 million a year, their TV deal, which is not a lot of money realistically. If you buy the competition, does that make Catalans worth more or less? So, I've heard the same, the Catalans were looking to sell, and I'm wondering what their play is, what that says for the future of the game that they're looking to sell now. Do they think it's going to be worth less, so they're trying to sell out now?
Yeah, good point. They say the value of the competition is £30 million. Seems nothing.
Well, that's not much more. That's the value of 2 NRL clubs, essentially. So that's where the game's at. But the other thing is too, like I found it fascinating that while we were over there, that Reece Mania has swept England. Well,
no one knew about it.
Look, and again, respectfully, other than actually at the game, not one person, when they heard my Australian accent, which sticks out like dog's balls over there, not one person said to me, "Oh, you're here to see Reece Walsh," or asked me about Reece Walsh, or said, "What's he like, Reece Walsh?" So it was a little bit of talk about the footy in general, but nothing.
A little bit overhyped.
Oh, look, you got to write about something, I suppose.
We had a great podcast over there with Jason McAteer from Liverpool. It was
very interesting.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. I like talking to people who are from different facets of sport and got different outlooks on life. And he had a real story, Jason. So I could have sat and listened for another hour. To be
Sharp
fair.
character too. Very good. We also ran into a guy over in Dublin. I think we've got the footage here. We'll run that.
I just said that for Mr. Paul Kent, formerly of the Daily Telegraph, to watch out for the tree here in the Liberties in Dublin.
There's one in every corner, isn't there?
And Spud.
Thank you, so good. That was fucking great.
Are you over? Are you just over for the weekend or for the
just have a holiday here and then leave.
So Kenty, that was a bloke. That looked staged, but I can promise you, we went to the Guinness Brewery and we did a little bit of a bar crawl on the road. And the thing was, we're doing a half pint at every pub from the Guinness Brewery back to our hotel. It was about 15. We probably got to about 12 half pints, and that was it. But we ran into a bloke on the street who came up and said, "Kenty." It was unbelievable.
He was walking past us, and he was Irish. He wasn't an Australian bloke in Dublin. He was an Irish bloke. He just, Mr. Kenty said, "Stay away from trees."
Yeah.
And,
you're global.
Going global, like... who doesn't like a good tree incident to go global? So,
but he watched the show every night, so whoever that bloke is, good on you.
Anyway, so it was said to him, "What did you just say?" and film that part of it, which is what you just saw. But and poor old Spud there felt left out because he didn't recognise Spud.
He also said, I played footy, didn't anyway. So, mate, while you're away, you mentioned to me a couple of times that you're feeling a bit tired, and I thought you were getting old, but
so did I.
So, mate, run us through. So what happened from that?
Oh, look, what happened? As I said, I thought I just had jet lag for 10 days or whatever I was over there, which was not right. But and then I got home. Thought I had jet lag once I got home too, to be fair. And then one night I was just sitting home, I scratched my neck and just felt a lump in my neck. So I rang my doctor, the old South stalwart, Jimmy LaHood, and said, "Mate, I think I got lump on my neck, and he said, "Is it sore?" I said, "No," and he said, "Oh, come and see me." And long story short, he came back and we had a biopsy and all the rest of it, and it was cancer. So
it's interesting because
such
if you
is
look
life.
through the episode that we did, the podcast over with Jason McAtee, you can actually see the lump.
Yeah, you can see lumping. Look, I've got a lump. I've got a few in there now. Like, anyway, so I've got a. Anyway, they couldn't find it initially. That's secondary. It's travelled to there.
Right.
It's at the back of my throat. Started out back there, and look, it's the prognosis is pretty good. It's going to just be a tough couple of months, and like Warren, the whole thing about this, right, is look, this is not something I'm particularly really wanted to talk about, okay? And this whole podcast world is very new to me, particularly like my age and all the rest of it, right? And these days people tell you everything about themselves. I'm from a different generation, but I have to talk about it from the point of view that my treatment is going to go into football season, and the worst part of my treatment is going to be at the end of it, which will be well into which will be the right on footy starting. So, preferably, I tried to get it started all about a month or so ago, and I was hoping I'd be able to get through it all and recover and be back before footy started. That's not going to happen now. We can't do that. So it's going to go in the footy season. And the thing is, if I don't know whether I'll be able to talk or not at the end of it. Okay, I'm going to have radiation on my neck 5 days a week. And it's going to cause blisters and skin peeling and all sorts of stuff that you don't really want to be on camera sort of sharing with people. People don't really want to see that, to be honest. But it also means that come round one, I might not be here. I know, hopefully I'm here somewhere. But but I might not be able to do the podcast, and then which would then obviously, begin the questions. What's happened to it? Where is he? It would be basically people would be, I suppose, speculating. I got a phone call last week. I got a rush of messages last week during the cricket because there's a stack of journos at the cricket. Obviously, someone there had spoken about it because I hadn't told many people, but someone had. And so a lot of journos were texting me, "Mate, hope you're okay. I've just heard you're not well," and all the rest of it. So it was going to get out. And this is just essentially to let people know that, yes, it's right. It's true. But I might not be there at the start of footy season. I'll be back as soon as I'm healthy. I'm not looking for anything from anyone. I am basically just doing this as just a disclosure thing for why I might not be around come round one. And that's essentially it, mate, because I can't... We don't live in a world where you can keep these sorts of things private anymore. So so that's what it's about. Now I hope I'm able to talk round one. I'm able to get on with the show as good as gold. If not, round 3 or so, I reckon I might be starting to get pretty close to being able to start. So that's where it's at. So essentially, this is why we're sort of sitting here now, or talk about this now anyway, is to essentially just say, look, it's happened, and as soon as I can, I come from a world where you get up and go to work in the morning, you work, and you provide for your family, you pay your mortgage, you do all that sort of stuff, and that's what I'm going to endeavour to do, and that's why I'm here today. That's why we go to work to get paid. And so that's what it's all about for me. So,
mate, it's throat cancer.
It's throat.
Oh.
It started in the back of my throat, sort of behind my tongue area. So
Ever smoke, Kenty?
never had no. I had a couple of drags on a cigarette when I was 15.
Yeah, right.
So never had a smoke.
Do they give you forecasts of survival rate?
Yeah, 4 out of 5 survive.
Okay.
So
Does that scare you?
not really. No, I'm actually pretty good about it, mate. Look, I don't want to sound arrogant
Nonchalant,
about it.
yeah.
Well, I just think I'll be okay, mate.
Yeah.
Like I really think I'm not going to be that 1 out of 5 that doesn't get it. I don't for a minute think that's going to be me. And I'm just going to get through it. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to listen to the doctors, do all that. I'm very confident I'll get through it. other than that, I'm in reasonable sort of shape for a bloke my age. You know what I mean? So,
What about your partner Sam and your daughter? How was it breaking it to them?
oh, it's tough. It's tough telling everyone, mate. But
Well, you had a lunch on the weekend.
yeah,
on Saturday with some mates.
Well, what happened on the weekend, last weekend, was I was told, as I said, I've confided in a few people before it really got out. And obviously, one of those is Ben Eichen, who Ben and I are very good friends. Beyond, we did 360 together for 10 years, I think we did it together. And we knew each other or knew of each other before that, but we became very good friends over that period where we had a lot of things we shared with each other in our lives at the time. And so he rang me up and he said, look, I'm coming down for the weekend. Sweet to stay at your place. I said, yep. So he flew down and I said to him, what do you want to do? Because, Ben and I are very different people. Right. And we spend our weekends very differently. So I said to him, like, what do you want to do?
You're going to bed when he's waking up, right?
Yeah,
That's
pretty
generally,
much. That literally has happened. So but anyway, he said, well, let's just go and have a lunch. So we invited some friends along. Like it wasn't like we sat down with a guest list. It was just basically a bit ad hoc, who can make it, whatever. But so Ike was there. Like Billy Moore flew down in the morning, came to lunch with us, and flew home.
Amazing.
Which just shows you what a great fella Billy Moore is. You know what I mean? And there was one of your stalwarts, Sammy Ayub, turned up. I'm going to forget people here, but
Dave Trodden.
Paul Crawley, Dave Trodden. So the New South Wales rugby league boss and the Queensland rugby league boss sitting opposite me. And we just gossiped about everybody.
Yeah, awesome.
Paul Crawley was there, James Hooper was there, Von Sampson was there, Johnny Elias was there. Like there's just, I'm going to leave people out, but there was just, you know what I mean? It was just a catch up with mates because,
what about messages of support, texts or phone calls?
I've got texts from people in my phone I don't know who they are, John, which sounds really... I've responded, mate, thank you. But I'm sure you occasionally have someone pops up in your, someone sends you a text and you think, who's this person? I wrote a story about a boxer, Don Vay, I reckon 20 odd years ago, and he out of the blue sent me a text. So I got another text from someone. Last time we spoke was 2018. So
awesome.
It's people, rugby league people are good, So they rally around when one of their own's in a bit of trouble.
It's a family, isn't it?
It's a warring family.
Yeah, wars. Yeah,
it's a bit like the Hatfields and McCoys, but you know what I mean. But that's rugby league, and some people probably sitting back, I wouldn't say they're glad about it, but you know what I mean. They're not probably sympathetic either. But such is life, That's fine. I'm not. As I said, I'm not after anything by doing this or talking about this. I am just simply explain to everybody where it's at and
we've got a couple
what's going on.
We've got a couple of pics here. This pic here is you in your mask, which you look like Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, it's a funny one. Look, they so because it's in my neck, there's a lot of stuff going on around your neck, in a small confined area. So when they shoot the radiation into it, you're not allowed to move around in case you sort of start to hit the wrong spots and whatnot. So you put this mask on, which basically just locks you down there for the 15 minutes that I'll be doing that. It's not painful, apparently, but for 15 minutes you can't move anywhere. You can't even put your tongue between your teeth. That's how tight it is around your face. But it's an experience. I tell you, like when you're in there, you start to...
Think about life.
A few things go through your head. I can say that.
Can you eat as normal while you're having the treatment?
I will be for a while. Some people can go the whole way and still eat. But I've got to go in the hospital and get a feeding tube put in. Anyway, it's because it's basically most people can't. And you get to a certain stage where, because you've got blisters and skin peeling and all the rest of it inside your neck, that you just can't get food in there anymore. Yeah, right. So that's I don't want to be coming on here trying to tough it out doing a podcast. saying, "Oh, I'll be right. Don't worry about me."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, let me just have a drink. I'll just fill this up.
Like the Monty Python thing. When they chop off his
exactly,
legs,
mate. Yeah.
Well, the good news is, Kenty, this year we've got a sponsor back, Points Better back.
Yeah,
And thanks for them to coming on board, and it's great to have them on board, which allows us to do a lot of the stuff. And, you know, they were straight on the phone to me and very supportive of you when you do come back. So
yeah, and they've been terrific.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's, yeah, and to be fair, that was part of my thoughts as well. As you know, like we got the sponsor, and things are starting to go well with the podcast, and we're getting the following, and people like tuning in, and I didn't want to just disappear and not be around, and it's I'm a bit old school that you got a job to do, you go and do it. Yeah. So,
well,
I'll do it as best I can.
Well done, mate. And obviously we'll be here with you and work through it, and everybody will be watching you, and Chimes, your good mate, will be there too. So
I'm there for you.
Chimes might be sitting in my seat the whole time through. Who knows?
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. He's already told
I'm not qualified.
Oh, please.
I'm not qualified to be a
Well,
creek.
mate, we've got to get on a few topics soon. I reckon you're more than qualified.
Yeah,
to
so
talk
let's,
about.
at the end of last year, we had a great show. You came on board and we went through the year. So we're going to look ahead to this year and what's gone off in the off-season.
Yeah.
So the biggest story of the off-season was 360.
Oh,
360.
warning. Not allowed to talk about it. Not allowed to talk about it. Can we use a code name for it or something?
Hey?
Let's call it the Revolution.
Let's call it cornflakes.
Cornflakes. Yeah, it's called cornflakes. May as well.
So your business partner, Clinton Shafovsky, was said to be the mastermind.
Yeah, he put it all together worldwide on his own, did the whole thing. Tried to dismantle the rugby league in one foul swoop. I mean, I've never seen anything get so out of control in all my life. You know, so we manage a number of players that play union and some that play league that might be interested in union. I think collectively we might have had 3 or 4 players that had contact
From your stable. How many collectively in rugby league and rugby union? Because I heard many Wallabies
Mate,
were
this,
interested.
there were Wallabies interested. Of course they were. But I mean, this is the thing. It's a rugby union competition. Yet our media made out that rugby league was under threat and about to be overtaken by this rebel comp that's going to swoop in and take all our players. And mate, I had a call from a journalist grand final week saying, "Do you know what R360 have got planned to hijack the grand final?" I said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "Oh, it's grand final week. They're going to hijack the game." I said, "Well, yeah, of course I know. They're going to have 360 blokes jump out of a plane in jumpsuit with 360 written on them, land there on grand final days. They're about to kick off. What are we talking about?" You know, honestly, it got absolutely out of control because our media feast on this sort of stuff. We had one journalist say, "I hope it doesn't get up." Why would a journalist death ride a journalist who's meant to be independent, I would assume, on a death ride of comp?
Because everyone justifies themselves these days. You know what it is? Like, my understanding is a fair few of the Wallabies have committed to it. Don't know if they've signed, but I heard they've committed. And I'm of the belief, having spoken about it when we were over in England to various people, they think a few of those have committed as well. The problem, and correct me if I'm wrong, for R360 was that the Rugby Union World Cup is in 2027.
Yep.
And that was stick here in Australia. But a lot of people wanted to play in that before they committed,
100%.
which is why they've now delayed it to 2028 as a start for that thing. As far as what it does to rugby league, we've got Wayne Bennett and Phil Gould on total, who two of the great thinkers of the game, rarely agree, which just shows you what the game's up against. That two of the great thinkers about the game are rarely in accordance with their thoughts. From simple things as far as who should be kicking off to the threat of R360. Okay, both of them are at polar opposites on both those topics. Now, no one really knows how much danger it's going to cause. There's no doubt rugby league will lose, the NRL will lose some players. It already has. Like Zac was going, these are your clients. Papenhuyzen, I'm understand.
We'll talk about that. Let's talk about individuals in a minute. Yeah.
Right, okay. But I was around when Sonny Bill Williams left the game and everyone thought the sky was going to fall in, and it didn't. Okay, when Wendell Saylor left, the sky was going to fall in. It didn't. Matt Rogers the same. Like the game.
Lottie to Kiri.
Yeah, and we were having this conversation on Saturday. We're in the car, and there was myself, Vonnie, Billy Moore, and Paul Crawley, and we're talking about Reece Walsh. And Paul Crawley quite rightly said, he said, look, after Reece Walsh, he said, there'll be another one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, at the moment, he's the superstar. And Billy's a guy who asks 1,000 questions in every conversation. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Who's doing it? Yeah. So Billy was really interested in picking our brains about what we'd heard around the traps and all the rest of it. But Reece Walsh will one day retire. Like, I remember being devastated as a kid when Ray Price retired at the end of the 86 grand final. I just thought, mate, because he was my entire rugby league memory at that point. He was playing the game when I first started to follow the game as a kid. Now, other players come along. That's the beauty of it. And this is not going to kill the rugby league. No. The irony is the NRL, in the past, the great administrators, Quayle, Arco, even Dave Gallup, when he was running, they refused to panic about all these things. But we came out threatening 10-year bans.
Well, what do you think of that? Was that panic from PVL? It seemed... He doesn't make many mistakes, but that seemed like a mistake.
I think he's very Trump-esque in his approach to running a competition. Okay, he's very bullish. He's aggressive, and not a lot of thought, I think, went into what he said. He was more interested in the outcome than the process, and he probably got what he wanted. Because
he did. He put the wind up the agents and the players.
I was about to say.
So, Chimes, did you seek legal?
No, look, not that I'd ever run the game. If I was running the game, I probably would have done the same.
Right.
I accept it. He cares for the game, wants to protect the game. That's his job. That's his charter. Just quickly back onto Clinton. As an agent, you've got an obligation to represent your player, and you do as your player instructs you to do. And if a player wants to change codes or look at changing codes or do something different and tells you that's what he wants, that's what you do. You go to work for them. You work for them. We don't work for the NRL. Clinton's a good person, highly respected agent, former player, ticks all the boxes. He was just doing his job.
So how did he cope with that?
But Chimes, just on that though, I would dare say if the NRL came in...
Are we about to have a blue?
No, because I would dare say if the NRL came in and said to Sikorsky, all right, mate, you've taken Papenhuyzen and Lomax to R360, 10-year ban, based on what you just said, isn't that a restraint of trade by the NRL?
Oh, could be, but remembering that when the rule came on, it was a from now on rule. So any talks you had or discussions you had or negotiations you had prior to the rule coming in were allowed. They were legal in the eyes of the NRL. They had no problem with it. And the good thing about it is...
Even though they were accredited and there was stipulations and... So I don't know what the accreditation requirements actually are, but is there anything in your accreditation...
No. To say you can't talk to an unsanctioned competition?
Yeah.
No.
Well, so how can they... Yeah. So Valenti said from this point on... Yeah. Which was
so when you talk about restraints of trade, that's a legal matter, a legal avenue.
And both lawyers, depending on which way you want to go, they'll tell you you're right.
Correct. And sometimes you jump into that pool and have the legal stoush, and sometimes you can sort it out.
Was there any talk of the managers pulling together?
No, never got to that stage. I think at the time the cornflakes competition was waning a bit.
Right.
It wasn't at full speed. I know PVL's stance was a bit of a knockout punch, but I think at the time,
who?
Oh, it was like the stop girl sign walking out the street with the big stop sign. Yeah. So stop.
So when that happened, you weren't involved, but did players then contact?
Mate, we had to step away under the rule. Now, if a player wanted to...
Sorry to interrupt. Sikorsky came out and said he had instructed his players to go to
he said,
lawyers.
I can't represent you. You'll need someone else to do it, which was a good thing. He can't say, oh, you're on your own from here, good luck. He said, you're going to have to get... I can't do it. You're going to have to get a lawyer to do it. You know?
How's that? The smash and crash of the Big Bash is back this summer. And with same-game multi, plus a huge range of pre-game, in-play and futures markets, it's never been easier to bet on BBL cricket with the PointsBet app. You win some, you lose more.
But mate, R360 really shafted Lomax on this.
Well, let's talk about Lomax.
They've just left him stranded, mate. Like,
But there was never with things like this. I always say, believe it when I see it. It's a bit
have they
like
looked
Super
after him
League.
financially?
No, well, not that I'm aware of. No,
You reckon they'd give him something to get through?
but mate, there would have been other, like, countless other
Had they
players that
signed? committed? Had they signed with any?
To the best of my knowledge, Zach never
intent?
signed.
No
Zach
letters of
never signed
intent
a
or anything like
contract.
that?
No.
Because you gotta answer that very carefully. That question.
But you can't sue or take a company for damages if they don't. If I think it's a $1 or $2 shelf company.
Well, that's the other danger. That was always the danger. That's
yeah.
why, and that's why Valenti's called it a cornflakes competition, because it was registered essentially as a $2 shelf company. So there's no liability there.
Yeah, it'll be hard for it to regain momentum, even though there's a chance it'll have another crack. But from after having it done once to players, it'll be hard to get their confidence and reassure them that this is going to happen this time.
So what's going to happen to Zac Lomax?
Not sure.
But he's in your stable.
Yeah. Look, I
So
can't
where are
give
you
you the answer today. Well, at the moment he's on vacation. So just quickly on Zach, I want to say a few things about Zach if I can. So Zach's different in many ways, but one thing he's not is he's not scared. He's not scared of change. He's fearless, and I think at some stage. Footballers or athletes get a 10 or 15 year window. He's not scared to try things. Now, I know the scoreboard reads poorly, 2 clubs in 2 years. But if I was doing the Melbourne Cup form here today, right, and analysing it, there are circumstances as to why things changed, So when he originally signed with the Dragons, Paul McGregor said to him, "You are my fullback. We're signing you to play fullback." He played 1 game at fullback. He went to centre, then found himself on the wing, wasn't happy at the club, went to a new club. He went to Parramatta, signed at Parramatta. About a week or 2 after signing at Parramatta, Brad Arthur was sacked.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks later, Clint Gutherson, who helped woo him to Parramatta, went to St George.
Yeah.
But you can never question his performances or his effort on the paddock. So yeah, and apart from that, he's a good fella. He's a very decent fella. You know
what I found interesting about it though?
Did you like my little Melbourne Cup thing there?
I did, yeah. And that's on that point. One of the fascinations of the game is all the the slight variations on things and just all the mitigating circumstances that help people get to arrive at where they finish. And a lot when you're not aware of that, it's easy to sit back and why did we sign him? Oh, bugger him, he's walked out on 2 contracts.
Just like that.
Telling the bugger off without understanding what went in around that.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating though is he extended at St George Illawarra because he wanted to play fullback, didn't play fullback, went back to the centres, eventually got put on the wing. And Parramatta, he went to Parramatta because he wanted to play centre, ended up on the wing. If he's not the best winger in the world, he's close to it.
He's pretty good, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
And that seems to be that's his position. That's his position where he's played for New South Wales and Australia now. I don't think he ever would have got there, respectfully again, as a centre or a fullback. Why wouldn't he just say, you know what, mate, it's not my favourite position to play. I don't have the most fun in this position, but it's where I'm best at, and it's where I'm most dangerous, and it's where everyone fears me.
I think he accepts
that.
That's his spot. He's playing rep footy there, and he's walk up start for rep teams by playing there.
But even at Parramatta last year, you could see there were times he was playing.
Yeah.
He's wearing 4 or whatever, and he's defending on the wing. So it's like they were keeping him happy by giving him the centre jersey.
Yeah, he did.
He went to Parramatta to play centre.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He openly said that was one of the reasons why, if not the most important reason why.
Just back onto the, people will be saying, "Oh, contract's a contract. He's broken too." Right? And
he's a mercenary. Blah blah. We've already heard that.
I can understand them saying that. My question is, how do you fix that? Now, the only possible way to fix it is to say, right, if you sign a contract with a club, you fulfil it, right? At the same time, if the club signs you, They've got to fulfil it.
They got
The problem is, along the way, it just doesn't work.
Clubs
along
trying to
the-
get players out left, right, and centre.
Along the
And
way,
that's salary cap
circumstances,
pressure of lack of form.
circumstances change for both the club and the player.
100%.
Player might go from being a
Yeah.
reasonable club player to suddenly has a burst of form. He's
Yeah.
getting picked in Origin. He's
Yeah.
now an Origin player.
Yeah.
So his circumstances change. By the same token,
Yeah.
a club loses one or two players in
Yeah.
a certain position.
Yeah.
Their circumstances have changed, or they might gain a player in a certain position.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about contracts is they're there to protect the interests of both parties.
Yeah.
And if one party doesn't want to fulfil their side any longer,
Yeah.
well, the other side's protected, and that's where the negotiation begins.
To give the anti-Zaxters some comfort, I'd be very surprised if wherever he lands next,
Is his last
I doubt very much he'd be jumping out early. Yeah. Yeah.
What about going to Melbourne? Let's talk about there's the negotiations now because
Look, it's public knowledge that there's been conversations between Melbourne and us, and it's
Because
a
they've got
matter of
opportunity there,
trying to navigate the termination document with the Eels, and how we may be able to or may not be able to open the door for Zac to continue. The good news is the NRL want the best players in the world playing in this competition. They can see that and accept that. That's so encouraging. You know, Peter V'landys said, yes, he's welcome back. I think that's fantastic.
What makes a New South Wales Origin and Kangaroo was selecting the Kangaroos, decided not to go. What makes him defect or potentially defect to R360? Is it just because he wants a new challenge?
Yeah, he likes to challenge himself, and
Well, I know there's money involved.
Oh, hello.
No, there is money involved, but there's a chance Zac will go and box one day. Yeah, if Zac's the type of bloke who believes he can conquer anything he sets his mind to.
Good spirit to have.
It had to be the money. Come on, let's
it's
be
refreshing.
serious.
But he went for less money at Parramatta because he wanted to play centre.
Well, there you go. There's a point.
And ended up on the wing.
There's a point.
That's
he
what I'm
took,
saying,
He took
though.
a pay cut. He
But
walked away from
but
a
he
bigger
wanted to challenge
contract than
himself.
Dragons.
Yeah.
But yeah, the money would be a factor, Paul.
Well, the interesting thing is, Kenty, you're saying that he can potentially go to Melbourne. At Melbourne, you'd think he wouldn't play on the wing.
Yeah.
So he's got to play in the centre
Yeah.
Well, that might be
or fullback.
some bait for him down there. You might have to get onto that, Chimes. What about people saying they should let Melbourne should let Xavier go to Parramatta?
I don't think that.
So that's where people don't understand the salary cap and all the rest of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Look, I think common sense will prevail and something will be
the right
sorted.
deal will get done, provided he's willing to. Provided he's willing to have, I think, some compromise, which he's going to have to because he's got nowhere else really to go by the sounds of it.
Can he stay in rugby?
Oh, you could, yeah. See, people say, and
Not play for the
I heard
Wallabies
a
at
journalist
World
the
Cup.
other day saying, why the hell would he terminate without being certain this new comp was going to start? But Zac's brazen and daring. So he said to himself, well, if it doesn't start, I'll back myself to do something else.
Yeah.
That is refreshing. I think it's good. I think
Good on him.
it's it's out of the norm, and people
Yeah.
say you're mad, but he said, well, I'll find something.
Because the
I'll let you
reverse
do
of that is he could have started at Parramatta and taken his money all the way through.
could
till
have.
The competition starts because
Yeah.
the competition wasn't supposed to start till September,
Yeah.
October.
And even then, it could have been put back another year.
So he could have taken the money
He
at
could have
Parramatta.
sat and got his money, yeah. But he said, no, let's go. I think his intention may have been, look, if I'm going to go to rugby, I'll go and play rugby somewhere. I think,
And I'll play for the Wallabies in the 2027 Rugby World
I
Cup.
think Melbourne's interest may have, when Melbourne come knocking, you give them an audience if you can, Pretty hard to walk away from.
Are they the number one club for your players?
If Melbourne or if
Brisbane Roosters?
in recent times, Melbourne's the club.
Yeah,
If they knock on your door and say, we're interested in your player, you pick that phone up as quick as you can to ring the player. So I've got some big news for you. Craig Bellamy wants you.
How willing are they to take the Melbourne discount, though? To
Yeah.
play there for less than what they get elsewhere.
I've done a heap of them over the years,
Yeah.
mate, because they're a chance of winning a comp. And you can't put a price on a premiership.
Do you reckon they win the comp this year?
They're going to be thereabouts.
They haven't lost that many players. Anyway, let's talk about that at the
I
end.
reckon. All right.
Let's talk about
we'll
that.
get on to that.
The last thing I want to ask you about with Zac Lomax is that there's all this talk about Parramatta have to let him go and Parramatta shouldn't let him go. And my understanding is Parramatta have used that money to to get Jonah Pezzett. So there might not be any money left, even if you wanted to stay.
Parramatta have been really good throughout the whole process.
Right,
They run a real good ship out there. They're heading places. They've got some really good administrators there. And Jason Rolls, I think at the time, see, Zach didn't hide behind a tree and say, I'm going to go and talk to R360. He went personally, spoke to the chairman. He personally spoke to the coach. He personally spoke to the general manager of football and said, there may be an opportunity for me to do this. I think I'd like to do it. Now, Rolls, he said at the time, he didn't say publicly, but I believe his attitude is, if your heart's not in it or you don't want to be here, you're better off going.
That's why he's such a good coach at Parramatta.
Yeah.
Can you
For,
imagine?
for anyone, Rolls.
That is good, isn't it?
It is good. I really admire what Rolls has done at the club.
Parramatta could have dug in and said, you're going nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
You're
got you
the
on a
future of our club.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
and on
blah.
the Peasant, I thought the Peasant was brilliant.
Yeah, so
Unbelievable.
I think
so
they had,
clever.
I think they had some idea what they were doing when they released
Before
Zach, knowing that, hey, we can strengthen here and do this.
But a lot of
Can
people
you-
blow up about him going there for 1 year and then going to Brisbane after it, right?
Yeah.
And this is this old-fashioned type of thinking. We sort of still get lost in rugby league a little bit, where the days of one club players, it still exists in some people's minds. Now, it'd be wonderful if that was the case, and every club used to have a personality based around players who'd been there for 10 years, and they'd form the club into that personality.
One
But
club
that
players.
doesn't happen now. But for Parramatta to have, I think, the foresight and the intelligence to sit down and go, you know what, we're not going to get him for a long-term deal, but we can have him for a year, fill a spot for a year.
Harry went to Tigers for a year, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But he does that for a year while they wait for, and apparently by all reports, there's good kids coming through. Okay, gives those kids another year to develop.
Kenty, crystal ball. Can you see him reneging on Brisbane if Parramatta put the clause into it?
But I was going to say, Thomas, that also opens up that conversation, doesn't it? If he goes to Parramatta and enjoys it, if you remember when Harry Grant went to Tigers for a year, Tigers, they tried to entice him to stay full time. Harry said no and went back to Melbourne. But if he enjoys his time there, Parramatta has some success. They're on their way up. I'm sure that that's a conversation that's going to be had.
Just before we talk about Adam Reynolds, who'll be taking over, who's your man, I was just going to say one thing is, can you imagine how big the episode with Zac Lomax on chiming in will be when he comes back at the start of the season?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And if he gets to Melbourne, I think Melbourne play Parramatta round 1.
There you
Yeah,
go.
they do.
That's a blockbuster, and it's a sellout, isn't it?
Let's talk about
Interesting.
Adam Reynolds, because
I'd like to be in the crowd.
Pezzett plays at Parramatta, goes to Brisbane.
Yeah.
Adam Reynolds is your man, who's
Yeah.
the incumbent halfback up to
Yeah.
Brisbane. How did he feel about the Pezzett deal?
Oh, I think he was okay with it. I think Adam's been around long enough to understand clubs have got to fuel their engine and recruit. He certainly doesn't feel threatened by it, because there's a reasonable chance that this will be Adam's last year.
Okay.
I'm not saying, ironclad he's finishing, because that'll be his decision. He might win the Dally M, he might win another comp, he might get the Churchill Medal, he might find a new lease of life. We don't know. But I have a feeling that this might be it for Adam, depending on how it all goes. The last few years have been really, really good for him. He's done really well. So certainly wasn't bruised at all by
Interesting.
by the arrival.
Well, you
of
shouldn't be
future
either,
arrival.
though.
No.
It's just a smart football decision.
Yeah.
The way that, even the maturity from
Roster
Brisbane,
management, yeah.
but for them to say, okay, we're comfortable with you having a year at Parramatta on the way through. I think that's sort of a really.
It's a good get.
Shrewd by Braith and Astor too. I thought that was a pretty good deal that he wrapped
They
up.
did lose a good kid, but to Canberra, didn't they? They burnt one to get one.
The Broncos,
Yeah.
Cody Black. He very good player apparently. He's got to get a little bit of aggro in him, but he's also what the Raiders need, don't they? They're looking for a halfback after Fogarty left. They've got Sanders down there as well. But
I just want to ask you about just one thing about Adam Reynolds. You did his book launch at the end of
His
last
book,
year.
yeah, the bestseller actually.
Was it?
Yeah, it's going really, really well.
Yeah, right. And you went around Australia. with him?
Oh, we did a Brisbane launch and a Sydney launch.
Yeah.
It went good. Yeah.
How was South about what was written in the book? Do you want to just say a little bit?
I think some people at South had some trepidation that he was going to dump a bucket of shit on South for not re-signing him. But mate, he was really good in the book. He gave an explanation as to some of the circumstances surrounding why he may not be there, but it still remains a mystery as to why he's not there. And history shows that I'm happy to say it was a blunder letting him ever leave.
Well, they got rid of him because he said his back was no good and he wasn't able to train, and
there's a lot of stuff flying around.
There's a lot of rubbish around there, and I think that also been stung a little bit by Sam Burgess retired, injury retirement, had to pay him out. Greg Inglis had an injury retirement, had to pay him out. The club's privately owned now.
Gee whiz.
Well,
That stingy, are they?
Well,
Come on.
well.
He has a good relationship with South and people and the players and many of the officials there.
And what about the whole Kevy thing, the demise in the book?
Well, if you're going to write a book, you've got to say something, haven't you? So he just spoke honestly a bit. I think part of the blame of Kevy's sacking was attributed to the players and Adam. So I think he went on record saying, well, that's not true. It had nothing to do with me. He has a great relationship with Billy Walters. He's mates with Kevy, and I think part of him in that book just wanted to clear the air and say, hey, it wasn't me,
Final thing on Reynolds, was it true he was going to sign for the Gold Coast? Or wanted to go to the Gold Coast?
He was desperate to go to the Gold Coast.
Why?
Absolutely desperate. Oh, he wanted to, if he was going to leave South, he wanted to go up there, raise his wife and kids, four kids, and he could see himself living in a beachside suburb with a jet ski on a canal.
Not bad.
And how good.
Go to the Kira Beach Hotel on a Friday.
How good life had been. But he made the right decision in hindsight.
Let's talk about the Gold Coast because a couple of big moves in the off-season, obviously. Matty John's taking over there, a little bit of small percentage, and your mate Gordy. You think that a bit more of that will happen in rugby league?
Not really, I don't think so. But
is that a publicity stunt?
Oh no, I don't think it's a publicity stunt.
They mightn't be the right word.
No. What it was? Look, both Matthew and Gordon have both been, I think, confidants of Rebecca Frizzell for some time. Okay, Gordon's wife's on the board of the Gold Coast already. She has been for some years. Gordy's been an ambassador, which completed the set for Gordon. He's now done. Well, he hasn't got to the Dolphins yet, but that's next up. But he's got the rest of the Brisbane club, or Queensland clubs under wraps. And Matt,
like Monopoly.
Yeah, and Matt. Look, Matt's like I said, both of them were confident of Rebecca, and I think that was her way of basically acknowledging that, thanking them for that.
They bring plenty of punch too, don't they? They've got some tentacles.
The funny thing about it is, I look. Far be it for me to give my advice, but Matty came out and said, look, he rang Josh Hannah and said, look, I'm not going to interfere in how you coach. I'll just have a bit to say about pathways. Well, in some ways, that's sort of already interfering a little bit, if you know what I mean. But he's really intent on staying out of that. Yeah. The worst thing that could happen at the Gold Coast, and I think Matt and Gordy are smart enough to avoid this, and Josh Hannah's smart enough to avoid this, is when things start not working out or you go through a bit of a rough trot, it's easy for Gordy or Matt to be able to say, mate, why don't you try this? We did it this way, and you start getting all these mixed messages. And for a bloke like Josh Hannah, who's a rookie NRL coach, it'll be his first season as a head coach in the NRL. And it might not happen this season, but it might happen another season. For him to be start getting advice and mixed messages. Mixed messages are the killer with an NRL coach who's taking advice from here and advice from over there. And if the advice doesn't align, that's when you're in real trouble. Yeah. And that's when the players, they sense your lack of confidence or your indecision. And once they sense that, you're dead in the water. The great coaches in the NRL now have all got different systems, different methods. They all want things. Craig Bellamy is a different coach than Trent Robinson, who's a different coach from Wayne Bennett, who's a different coach from Ivan Cleary.
They're in the machine, though.
No.
The Bellamy machine.
Yeah, but that's the point. Bellamy's certain on what he thinks works.
Right.
And within his club, it's a non-negotiable. This is what we do. This is what I expect. He doesn't have someone saying to him, mate, why don't you just try this?
Okay.
Or, mate, why don't you try this? He knows what he knows, and that's what he does. Ivan Cleary has a different set of ideas on what he thinks works. But Ivan Cleary is very definite on what he wants from his club and his players. So he doesn't have that third fourth noise coming in that makes him question what he's doing. So if Hannay can stick to that route, I think it's fine. The problem for Matt and Gordon is this new NRL rule where people affiliated with clubs and whatnot are not allowed to make the Gus rule, are not allowed to make comment.
Because they work in media.
What good is Gordon? See, Gordon goes on now on NRL 360 and sits in that chair, okay, and he says one thing about a player. Gee, he's a good player. He could be anything, this kid. That's what you're required in that seat, on that show. But he's now broken that NRL rule.
So what do you think of that rule?
I think it's a joke.
Right.
Absolute joke.
Kenty's back.
He is.
You know what?
Never left.
No.
But you know what they should have done? They should have gone to the propaganda department, right, which is the integrity unit, right? Now, and if Phil Gould, what he said about Lachlan Galvin, best young player best teenage kid I've ever seen, if that was so heinous, right, and that was really planting a seed to get Lachlan Galvin out of West Tigers and get him into Canterbury, if that's
it?
No, I don't think so.
No, not at all.
No, I don't think it was at all. I think Gould has always been very almost over the top with his praise of young players, and he does that as a mechanism of support, as a veteran of the game.
Keith Galloway fan too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
got that.
favourite
Yeah.
forward,
Keith Galloway's his favourite. Yeah, but see, by saying that, everyone said, "Oh, he did that to try and get him over." If they're fair dinkum about it, the NRL go, Phil, and the propaganda unit, Integrity, they go, give us your phone, let's look at your texts. Let's look at your emails. They go to Lachlan Gowan's phone, look at his texts, his emails. They go to Isaac Moses' phone, who was his agent, and they look and they see whether there was any prior discussion.
But they can't do that. I mean, that's not
they
practical.
can. It's in the rules. They're allowed to do that, aren't they?
Oh, they've got the powers.
They've got the powers to
Wow.
do that.
Okay.
So it's there. They had the rule in place. This is all about bullshitting to the fans, showing the fans, look, we've got it under control. Forget about it. We're on top of it.
Trust us.
But we'll stop this that you all don't like. You don't like the players or fans blow up about Gould. This is their way of stopping. They had the power ready to do it.
Yeah, okay.
This is just a joke.
It's
But
going to be a minefield, isn't it?
But you look at Fox now. So what's Brace say? What can Brace say about a player now? Because who's to say Brace not trying to get that player in his stable? So he can't praise a player, right? Gordon can't praise a player. Matthew Johns can't praise a player. Mick Ennis can't praise a player. Like, you start going through the roster, what are Fox going to do? They're going to sit there and they're going to go, can't say anything. Don't want to get fined. But the NRL won't do anything. They'll let them go. Eventually it'll all come back to normal. They'll all talk normal and everyone will be happy because they have this bullshit rule which sat there and made the fans, deceive the fans. I think it was a con job on the fans.
Chimes? Bullshit rule?
Oh, I think you have to see how it plays out and how they're going to police it and that. But
But they already had the rules in place to police it.
It's a potential minefield.
Where was the integrity unit? If it was exactly what people alleged to have happened, where was the integrity unit? Why weren't they able to either one uncover something, two, if they uncovered nothing, come out, release a report and say this is what's happened. We've looked at Gould's
I think
emails and texts. We've
trying
looked
to
at
protect the perception, the fans' perception.
Yeah, but okay, look, you got to get me started now, because you know what? That's one of the real things that's wrong with this game. It's this propaganda bullshit veneer that they feed you shit and tell you it's chocolate sauce. You know what I mean? It is just wrong, and just be upfront. But the fans are smart enough to know what's going on.
They are.
I would actually say the fans are smarter than most people in the head office there, who are losing people at a rate of knots because of what's going on in there.
You're going good today, aren't you?
Oh, mate, I've had
He's had a long time to think about it.
an indifferent off season.
I've got a quick one, just quickly. Have you heard anything about the crystal ball?
Yeah.
The Bellamy rumour about the Gold Coast, it hasn't quite gone away.
No, I don't think it will go away. I think they'll stay on it.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think I'll stay on it. I don't know. Look, you know what? Bellamy's fascinating because he
hasn't denied it.
Well, and he's in such a position of strength. He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to say anything.
Does not have to say anything. And he's. I would even go as far to say he's in such a position of strength. He could even come out. I don't think he would do this. But he could come out and say, "I'm considering it," and nothing's going to change him at Melbourne. The control he has over the players and the respect for that they have for him, that won't change either, because of what he's done and how much he has given those players in that club. But I think there's a small chance it still could come about. I because his family are up there. He's going through this change of life. Like Craig's been saying for quite a few years now, this is the last year, and he just can't drag himself away from it. But as an incentive, and just his family are up there now.
Yeah.
His daughter's up there. His grandkids are up there. His young bloke's down in Melbourne still with him. But I think there's a strong chance.
He's the type of guy who's always going to want to be involved somewhere.
He just,
I don't think he could switch off.
He's a coal miner's son, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's like he's not got a. He's a worker, mate. That's just. That's
Can't
who
tell
he is.
Zach though, that can you?
No,
Before he signs for
no,
Melbourne.
no, heavens, no.
Don't tell Zach.
I hope Bellyache does at least a couple more years.
Poor old Zach. He'll just turn up and find out Belly's
Ding,
gone.
ding.
You'll be getting a phone call.
Chimes. Question for you: what about the rumour of Gus Gould to the Gold Coast?
No.
I've heard it. I've heard it. No, he's recommitted at Canterbury. Very happy there. I think he'd stay. Canterbury.
Do you think he'll end up there?
No. No.
Oh, he might end up
No.
with a holiday house there one day.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll.
He might end up with a contract extension at Canterbury. It's probably the.
I think he's done his extent, but I have heard his name.
Yeah, thrown up.
It's like tackling a block of cheese.
Fire up your NFL season with PointsBet. Now with NFL Bet Tracker. Bet on NFL markets like passing yards or receptions and follow them live in the PointsBet app. Yeah, that's built different. You win some, you lose more.
Let's talk about Ryan Papenhuyzen because he is a player at the top of his game
Yeah,
that every other player in the competition wants to get to his level,
yeah,
and he's walked away from the game.
yeah. Not allowed to do it. Media won't accept it. Fans won't accept it.
Fans don't understand.
Why
it.
would you do it?
It's hard to understand why a bloke would walk out on what 800 grand a year to discover other things that he can't even put a finger on.
He's got about 18 wires in his knee. He's had multiple concussions. He's had a busted ankle. He's looked after his money. He's highly intelligent. He's different.
Yeah.
And he woke up one day and said, you know what, I think I'd like to have a spell. I don't think I want to do this anymore. They should have stood up and clapped him off. It's refreshing. Ash Barty quit tennis and everyone didn't go, what's she doing now? They said, good on you, darling. Great career. Well done. Hats off. I just think in rugby we have this expectation of everything being cloak and dagger. Where's he going? Oh, he must have signed this. He must be doing that.
Well, everyone's saying he was going to R360 and it didn't work out.
No, but he hadn't committed. He was always walking away from sport for a minimum of 12 months. If you asked me, will he play professional sport again, I'd say it's unlikely.
Well,
Wow.
he has got a fragile body.
He puts his body on the line. He has since he was a kid.
But what I'm saying is, like, and you know this, Chimes, from being around the game as long as I have, there are some players who they get injured and they find a serious injury after serious injury.
Couldn't get any worse than his knee.
Yeah, and what happens though is the rehab.
Yeah.
All those
grind.
hours you spend, your teammates are out on the paddock, you're sitting in the gym just pushing rolling it over a bike, you know what I mean? And in the end, that's what gets you. And that's why you can see this guy, particularly someone like him who's intelligent.
Yeah.
So he needs,
And
dare I say, a little bit more stimulation than the average footballer.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's different too. Like, he likes his own time.
Yeah.
He plays golf. He wants to travel. I think it's fantastic.
yeah.
I really do. But for some reason, instead of applauding him and congratulating him, we all wanted to know what he was doing.
Yeah, but that's
next.
because we're a blue collar game, and in our world, mate, you
There's
just
no one
don't
on
walk
800.
away from 800 grand a year.
Yeah, there's people
Like,
on 100 grand who are going,
there's
how
people
the
on
hell could
50
you do
grand,
this?
You know what I mean? Like there's people
50,
like,
65.
you know what I mean? Like there's people who are on.
But minimum wage is
But
62 and a half.
what he's
well,
had
there
to
you
put
go. There's
what he's had
50
to
in your
go
post.
through, what he's put his body through.
That's what I'm agreeing with you. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
he is
arguing the
different
point.
to a player at the top of his game saying, I've had enough, I'm going.
Yeah,
He's been hammered.
yeah, and all those hours and days and weeks to turn into just training on your own because you got to rehab your shoulder or your knee or whatever it is. That's the bit that gets your soul.
Yeah, I'm clapping him off.
Okay, well played, perhaps. But then you look at a player like DCE, who's going around again at the Roosters.
Yeah, well, he hasn't had the injuries, has he?
How will he go at the Roosters? Quickly.
I think they've recruited him primarily. Last year, they lost a lot of close games early in the season, and I think they thought if they had someone like him, they could have won those games. So I think they're hopeful that he will be the difference between the narrow losses and a wins. I can't see why it won't go well.
What about a bit of undercurrent there with players who aren't as happy? Maybe Hugo Savala.
I don't know, DC, but the guys there that we look after all say he's a terrific bloke and has settled in well, and they're all, no one's saying, what's this bloke doing here? I think they're all very happy. Mate, their window is wide open.
Oh, God.
This is the year for the Roosters.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end.
Because,
soon. I just want to ask you, David Fifita, thoughts? South?
Oh, I think he knows the reality of it, which is that it's the last chance saloon. Wayne's always been a big believer in him from the early days when he had him as a kid. And Wayne has got him for a steal. Yeah. He was on far too much money at the Gold Coast. It was ridiculous what they paid him. Wayne's got him for a fraction of that. And Wayne, my understanding is basically let him know that, mate, this, if it doesn't work here, there's nowhere else to go.
But that price tag being slashed takes all the expectation off him.
It does.
If he can turn up and play well, they're going to go, wow, how good's this player?
And he's a weapon when he is. And, you get him fit, you get him playing.
He's no shame.
I actually think he responds very much to Wayne Bennett's style of footy.
Yeah, he'll be good.
He's not a bloke that some coaches, very complicated game plans. They want him, you've got to be here on tackle 3 and here on tackle 4, and you can only go that far with the ball and all this sort of business. You keep them in their little tram lines and all the rest of it. I think Wayne will just go out, mate, and
run hard,
run him when you got the ball and tackle him when you haven't. So
let's talk about Perth, because we don't have much longer. We'll wrap up soon, but let's talk about Perth, because they're starting to get a few players, aren't they? Nick Meaney.
Yeah, I'm going to let Kenny off the leash here.
Big money.
I'm going to let Kenny off. Look, I'll lead you in here, right?
Yeah.
But it was always going to be a massive job, right? Putting together a squad, and they got to start somewhere. I will say this: that the players, that I'm familiar with that are signed are all of great character.
Yeah.
Really good people, really good work ethic. They have a great coach and great footy-minded people in that organisation. They're building, but it's going to be a real grind. Over to you, Kenty. It's all yours.
No, it's going to be a problem. Look, I had alarm bells when they offered Jaden Campbell $1.3 million a year. I thought, mate, this is a club in trouble. Problem I think that the Bears are going to have is towards the end, they've got to fill a 30-man roster. A 30-man now, isn't it?
Yeah, 30 plus 6.
30 plus 6, okay. Under the salary cap. They started out slow. They've missed a few players they wanted. We don't know how much they've paid for Wishart. We don't know how much.
900 I hear, but I don't know if that's close.
Yeah, well, we don't really know
if that's true.
But that's a lot of money for a guy who as talented.
He's a difference maker.
Well, he is.
Strike
He
player.
still hasn't run a team yet.
Someone was always going to get overs, but
They're all going to get overs. Yeah. That's the problem, John. Problem they're going to have is they're going to have, I would say, this is just me spitballing, 8 to 10 players who are going to be the core of their NRL team, who are all going to be on overs. That's going to leave very little room left in the rest of the cap to fill the rest of those positions. Now, when you bring in the fact also that there's a minimum wage that has to be paid for players 30, 29, 28, etc., there's going to be a lot of pressure on their cap, and I fear that club is going to be filled with 10 to 12 players who are a first-grade standard, Nick Meaney and Toby Sexton and Wishart and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But they're going to be taking up so much of the cap that was needed to entice them over there that the squad's going to be filled with state cup players and English cast-offs.
Yeah, a
And
challenge
that's
is
got to be the rest of the squad. And that's going to be a real issue.
to go there. You're going to want 2 years, right?
Minimum.
So if you go there and the team doesn't fire year one, you're stuck. You're pretty much
You're
stuck.
going to
Their
there
first
won't
2
be a lot.
years.
There won't be a lot of cap movement
Yeah,
in
you're gonna be
season
stuck.
2,
They're gonna be
and
bringing
potentially season 3.
the cavalry won't be coming till season.
So, and then you're going to have the constitution and see out 3 really lean seasons, which is anticipated because I thought the Dolphins did a tremendous job recruiting their roster.
Yeah.
They still haven't made the semis.
Yeah.
A lot
Okay.
easier too in Brisbane, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But you
That's
go.
true.
This is going to be a lot of pressure on them, and don't forget, come season 2 for them, they're going to be competing against Papua New Guinea for players who are of that same sort of criteria, who are willing to leave to become sort of new franchise players. So they're going to have. I think the NRL should have, and this is the hard part too, brought in some concessions for the new teams.
Like they do in the AFL.
AFL, they do it in overseas sport with new franchises.
Yep.
They should have allowed that. The difficulty being that the NRL own the Bears, which would lead to accusations that they're helping them out. But
They got to, right?
oh mate,
For the good of the game.
Look, I've been
I'm
waiting
cheering
for
for
30 years or 25 years for the Bears to come back, and
It's going to be tough, but
Chance, why are players reluctant to go there?
I think the distance,
Right.
the travel,
It's another world over there.
I think that's a factor. Although I'd rather go to Perth than have to go and play in England.
Yeah.
You know, but that relocating families, young kids, and we're all a bit hesitant to do that.
Mal hasn't coached NRL for 20 years either. Like, a lot's changed in 20 years.
I think it'd be good for that group, mate.
Well,
because-
look, I'm not. Look,
Yeah.
Mal, possibly the best leader
Yeah.
in that respect. Okay,
Yeah.
so there is a big plus side, but the game changes from season to season. To come back in when you haven't coached NRL, I know he coached Origin and all the rest of it, but it's very different running an Origin program than a Kangaroos program than it is running a club program. It's very, very
So
different.
what would be a goal wins year one for Perth, you reckon? What do you think they'll
I don't
achieve?
reckon they'll get 3. From what I've seen at the moment.
Well, I didn't think Redcliffe would get 5, and they got a lot more than that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think they had the Bromwich brothers.
Yeah, that's
They had some real.
Yeah.
See, one thing that I think the Dolphins did really well. Bennett went and got really sort of seasoned campaigners, blokes that are just tough to beat.
Yeah.
So Jesse and Kenny Bromwich. Who else to get? Kafusi. You know what I mean? Like he had some blokes that are just tough. The Bears really haven't got anyone like that.
Will
yet.
they get a marquee?
I think they they've got one, haven't they? That's the problem. Look at you. Mate,
Oh,
worst thing about this conversation is you know so much more than you're saying.
No, with respect, a marquee to me is a state or test player.
I don't think they'll get one.
Papenhuyzen.
I don't think they'll get one.
Lomax.
Lomax.
Lomax, yeah. But no, I don't think they'll get. Oh, look, they might. But the danger being already they're paying overs for the players they've got.
I think
they're
they'll make the
grateful.
cap fit. I think I don't see that as
They're going to have. They will make the cap fit because the NRL won't register contracts if it doesn't fit.
No, but I don't think they've gone overly the top yet.
But they haven't gone top end player yet either.
No, well, they haven't. That's
They
a
haven't
fair
got a.
point.
They haven't got a like an Origin
Origin
standard
or test
player
player,
yet.
no.
So
No.
what are they going to offer the first one of those at Science? How much overs is he going to be on?
The other thing that is a challenge for them is their undercarriage. You know, so they've got to find kids that are 18, 19, 20 that are going to be stars in the next couple of years.
And they've moved away
what-
from the North Sydney Bears, haven't they? Haven't they sort of?
No,
there's a bit of-
they'll sort something out with the Bears.
There's a bit of distance there, though.
Yeah, I think
the
they'll
Bears
be
got their nose out of the North
Have
Sydney
they?
Bears have got their nose out of joint a bit over that.
Yeah, when they see those colours running,
black and red.
Oh yeah, they'll be back.
Papua New Guinea.
No news on the Papua New Guinea front.
Headhunters.
The starters aren't
Chiefs.
even in
Chiefs.
the stalls. Yeah, the horses aren't even on the track yet, mate.
Well, they can't sign anyone.
No.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So they're not allowed to sign
That's
anyone
ridiculous.
yet. But the fact that they haven't got a coach yet, that's also a concern.
who will the coach be? Can't be Demetrio because he's just gone over.
I
to
thought Adrian Lamb might.
Broncos.
Adrian Lamb's a sneaky tip.
the
for
shoe
that.
in.
Yeah.
But the other part to that, they're going to ask everybody. I've never been to Papua New Guinea. Everybody I've spoken to have spoken about it like it's a something that you've never seen before. They will live in a compound over there. How do you entice married family men with young kids to go and live at a place that you've got to live in a compound? How do you entice young single men to go and live in a place where they've got to live in a compound?
Should have been based out of Cairns.
Now that's got to be the difficulty.
Yeah.
I don't know. As a manager, how do you when the Papua New Guinea Chiefs come to you and say, mate, we've got $600,000 here or $800,000 here, tax free supposedly for your player, but mate, you're going to have to go live here. You won't be able to go out at night. You won't be able to do this. You won't
I'll
be
have
able
to go over and have a look for myself.
You might not come back.
And if there's no pub, no one will be going.
Do they need a recruitment agent? Do they need a recruitment agent over there?
They will, I suppose.
But Times, how do you sell it to your player? That's got to be difficult, isn't it?
It'll be like, again, with respect, I don't know too many people who say to me, I'm off for a holiday to Papua New Guinea next week. We don't.
Oh, it's true.
Know? And yet I saw something on telly where they were selling this island that they were going to live on, with a fence around it.
Gilligan's.
But how do you? But see,
look, we'll
what
work
are they
through
going to
it.
do? They're just going to live in a little. They're going to live a little enclave of just a footy team, and that's it.
I'm sure in PVL we trust. I'm sure we'll make it work.
There'll be a little nightclub, like when you go up to Hamilton Island. There'll be a little nightclub for the locals.
I don't know if there will be. And
all right, let's keep moving.
Try telling the married men they can go to that.
Yeah. Could be work for journos up there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk quickly about the rule changes.
Yeah, Kenny, that's more your...
The big one. I mean, what do we think about the kickoff? I can't believe there's so much conjecture about the kickoff.
I think it's once again just...
it's happening.
I think it's bullshit.
Well, it's going to happen.
Look, honestly, we continually lower the level to the lowest common denominator in this game. The fact is, if people say it's going to make games closer, we shouldn't be artificially changing rules to make games closer. You've got a salary cap there that's supposed to. You've got all these millions in place. You've got all these phantom penalties or phantom 6 against from the referees that mysteriously keep games closer. And then now we're going to be told that we're going to have a choice over who kicks off. Honestly,
will we see a lot more short kickoffs, you think, in the game?
I don't know, mate. I just think I just think the whole thing's bullshit.
Okay, bullshit
I'm
rule.
sick of the game being treated like an entertainment product, which is coming at the cost of the integrity of the sport.
There's a whole season this year to talk about that again.
Oh, mate, honestly, it won't be the last you get from me either.
6-man bench.
That's a funny one. Again, do we turn the game into the NFL? Are we going to get to the point where we're going to have a fresh player for every position on the field? That said, Melbourne probably lost the grand final last year, or a big reason went towards them losing the grand final last year is because they lost Howarth early in the game, who's a centre, which is the one position that they didn't really factor for on their bench, right? They had to send Wishart on to play out there, okay? And it just, from that point on, Melbourne were a different team. So if they could have had a special centre sitting there, you say, okay, the contest is still on. So that's a good reason to bring in this rule. That said, no one's telling these coaches they have to have a bench full of middle forwards so they can just keep rotating them through the game.
Yeah.
Now it sits on the coaches for wanting to do that, and the NRL have basically been sold a duck again. You know what I mean? Like the NRL they get sold on these things. Coaches say we've got to do this, and because they're knowing there with any footy nous, they go, oh, well, we've got to do that then.
What about the no blue shirts on the field? You got to like that.
Yeah, I like that. The other thing too about the interchange and the kickoff, right? Is Bennett's a supporter of it? Of course he is. You know why? Because he's probably going to get scored against more often than not, given where his team ran last year. You know what I mean? Like, look at the motivation of the people who are coming out and asking for it. See, there's this thing that happens in the NRL, and I used to talk to David Gallup about it. If a team, for example, back in the day, Melbourne, when Chris Anderson was there, won the comp by playing quick, flat, fast footy where they were basically surrendering, diving at the ground. All the coaches went in and said, let's slow the game down. It's getting too fast. They brought in all these rule changes to slow the game down. And then you had teams come out who won the game by slowing it down till it bored everyone to death. So the next season, all the coaches came in and said, we've got to quicken it up. Whoever's winning, they don't want them to keep winning. So the coaches will campaign to change that. So the coaches now are saying, let's make it score us kick. So that way, the teams, coaches who are at the bottom half of the ladder, they're keeping their jobs because they're keeping the scorelines closer. And the NRL doesn't even consider that because they just think how it's going to look on TV. It looks better having a 24-22 scoreline than 24-6.
You're back, aren't you?
I didn't think it was that bad an
Mate, I'm
idea,
just
but
sick of the
everyone's
bullshit.
shit.
Honestly, I've sat there down. I haven't had a vehicle all summer times, and I've just listened
all
to the
coming out
bullshit
today,
that goes on, and I just think, mate, honestly, and people just fall for it. You know, like the fans are smart enough to know it. No one wants to listen to them.
All right, couple more things. Player agents.
Yeah.
Last year, in December, the NRL brought down sanctions against 4 agents, was it?
Yeah, 4 guys.
What do you think of that?
I thought the timing was a bit cruel. A week
Christmas?
before Christmas, yeah. I surely would have had an opportunity to do it a bit earlier. So I thought the timing was cruel. Look, the rules are the rules.
PR.
Everyone
That's
knows
bullshit.
what the rules
PR
are.
stick.
Kenny, I don't want to get fined $10,000 for making a mistake. It'd sting you. I mean,
Yeah, but Chimes, what they look honestly, it was politically correct. Shit, I reckon.
mate. Honestly, player agent's a bit like driving a car, where sometimes you can go over the speed limit. And you got to check your speed and all. You got to stay in your lane and do things properly. Lodging third parties, getting third parties approved, making sure players don't have third parties that you're not aware of. All that sort of stuff. So you got to.
A lot of admin involved.
Yeah,
in
but
that.
Chimes, all that goes on. While the real bad, I don't want to say the real bad stuff, but like players and agents and clubs breaking that November 1 deadline and like stuff that's actually has an actually legitimate impact on the competition. They miss all that. They don't fix all that.
Come down harder on the clubs, mate.
Yeah, when's the last time that?
No, but to say the clubs, if you get caught doing that, you can lose 4 competition points, $250,000 fine.
I'm in agreement with you.
Yeah.
And yet what they've done is they've gone and found a few minor things to show everyone, hey, look at us. Don't worry about us. We're on top of these agents. It's PR spin. It's about
honestly
showing everyone that they think they're doing the right thing.
I think generally they're pretty fair-minded and they understand if you.
The NRL.
Yeah, I think you can make a mistake and it's not the end of the world. But I think they're, especially with this review and whatnot, I think they're going to show that if you're going to be an agent, you have to abide by the rules and do your job properly.
But it's all the small fish.
Oh,
Come on.
Mario Tartek got done, didn't he? I think he's a big fish.
No, I don't mean the individuals. I mean the
indiscretions.
The offences that they've done.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, there's a lot more stuff that they could get on the managers. Yeah. For example, let's
We might take a commercial break.
Moving right along.
But there's all sorts of stuff. Like
What's
go
your
back
next
to
question?
the whole Gould, Lockie Galvin. Mate, did anyone say to Isaac Moses, show us that you have not been in contact with Phil Gould before you were able to speak?
You know what?
Where's any statement on that?
I thought we'd get through the first episode without speaking about Lockie Galvin and Isaac Moses. But anyway.
I bet you he looks back and he's glad he got out of West Tigers or what's gone on.
I mean,
doubt
what's
he's-
happened
I've got
there?
no doubt he's glad.
Kenny, they're your favourite club.
Well, it's
There you
Kenny's
go.
club.
Come on, I'm going to let you off the leash one more time.
No. Look, this is the greatest story of the whole summer. This is the greatest story. Benji Marshall gets a contract extension when he's going nowhere. He's got no chairman. He's got no chief executive, and half the board's been sacked. And yet he's managed to, out of that, he's walked away with a contract extension. They've extended him to the end of 2030.
Yeah.
His manager deserves half of what Benji's getting because that is just next
You
level.
need good agents.
But that shows you. I'm not going to bash up Tigers in game 1, but I tell you what, show 1. But
Let's
honestly,
lay off him at least till the season
look,
starts.
But seriously,
Yeah, I get it.
He
I
got
get
a
it.
contract. He wasn't going. Where else is he going to go? He's run last, and 13th. Like,
Papua New Guinea.
mate, it's the gift that keeps giving.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Let's get a comment on each of you. Let's run through these teams who are going to improve this year.
Roosters will improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends which way you want to look at it. I think the Roosters improve. I do think I've got no one that supports me. I think George Illawarra will improve because they had so many games last year, but they only lost by a little bit. And I think I can't even explain why. I just think that Shane Flanagan just makes them hard to beat. So I think their side will probably surprise people.
And they came 15th.
Yeah.
So
there's
I think
room for
Tigers
improvement.
will improve too. They keep improving.
Tigers make the 8 or not?
Chance, yeah.
Which teams will struggle?
You know what? This is a funny one for me. I think the Titans have got nothing. They've lost Kieran Foran. I know, they've got, I think Josh Hannay, I'm waiting to see that. I hear nothing but good things about him, and I have faith in that, and I think he'll do a good job, but I don't know if he's coaching much there. And I think, you like this one, there's a whisper around Tino might end up at the Roosters. There you go.
Yeah, I don't think
That'll make everyone happy. But
Melbourne?
He'll go to Melbourne, I think. Yeah.
well, I think the Roosters are coming in with a late charge for not next year, the year after. Anyway, we'll wait and see. But
Got a bit
I
of
don't
money
know
in the
who.
cap
But I don't
still,
know
don't
who's
they?
there at the Tigers.
Roosters.
Who's got a bit?
But Roosters got a bit of money in the cap.
Well, they've always got money in the cap.
That was a silly joke, but anyway. Players to watch?
Place to watch.
Or let's say buy the season. Buy the season.
By the season, we Jack de Belin. I think he'll be outstanding out there at Parramatta this year. If he's fitting well, I think he'll have a great year.
Friend of the show, Jack. So,
I think DC is going to be really.
Win the comp.
He's going to
Yeah.
really. He'll bring to them what they've been missing, and I actually think Pezzett. I'm really looking to see what he does at Parramatta. Like I think he's got a little bit going for him. The kid's.
You talk about teams that struggle. It'd be interesting how Manly goes without DCE. Big change for them. Who's the first coach to be sacked?
Oh, I'd
don't want
rather
death row
pass this one
anybody.
to Kenny. Hopefully no one. Hopefully none. But
It was very late this year, wasn't it?
Well, the problem is the teams that are going to be sort of toward the bottom of new coaches, haven't they? It's like Fano's reasonably new. Hannay's definitely new.
Holbrook will get a
Holbrook,
pass.
he'll be given.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to have a
Todd Payton, but he's proved they came 5th the year before.
Yeah, they have a sort of knack under title of going good year, bad year. So
Yeah.
there might be good things ahead for the Cowboys this
Let's
season.
hope so. Dally M winner?
Zac Lomax.
Climax.
Dalian winner. Don't know.
Reece Walsh, surely.
I'd like to see Tom win it. Tom Trbojevic.
Tell me
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon without DCE there,
I hope
captain, if he can get some games under his belt, he's a big chance.
I'll go Harry Grant.
Yep. Who's your outsider from last year who's going to come into the top 8?
Oh, Tigers for me, yeah.
Parramatta.
Yep. Who'll win the comp?
And it's hard for me because I'm
You've
choosing.
got players everywhere, but
Penrith.
Penrith?
I'll be surprised if the Roosters don't go very close.
Yeah,
to
I reckon the
winning
Roosters are going to win.
Yeah.
I can't believe how well they did last year when they lost so many players.
But they still had to improve. Penrith weren't far away from winning the game this year.
Yeah.
Or last year now. And they...
They've got some good kids out there too.
They've got kids coming through again. And all the core of what makes them great is still there.
Rugby League World Cup at the end of this year. Who'll win that?
Australia.
Yeah. We didn't, Kenty, you and I were overseas for the competitions back here, so we
Pacific
didn't see a lot
Championships.
of that. Yeah. So
Yeah, I didn't see much of that either.
Yeah.
I had
It was quite
watched a couple of replays.
yeah.
It was all about Qatar, everything I saw.
Yeah.
All bugger.
Well, that's it for us, gents.
How good?
Who's going to Vegas?
Not me.
Not me.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going.
I'll be in hospital.
Yeah, I know. You'll,
Kenny, good
you'll
luck.
be out of action.
Good luck with
Yeah,
all
good
your
luck, mate.
I'll be
stuff,
right,
mate.
mate. Don't worry about me.
Mate, we're all in your corner, mate, and we're here for you. And so many people in rugby league are too, mate. So,
I appreciate that, John.
yeah.
A lot God worse than me, mate. I'm all right. So it's all good.
You're a hard worker, mate, and you're a tough
I'll be
man.
right. Let's not talk about it too much.
Yeah.
But
All right, well, that's it from us. We still haven't worked out what we're going to do with the start of the Kenty season. We've got a few ideas we're throwing up. Thanks to PointsBet, who are back for the season. We've given to Australia Day for Chimes to decide on season 2.
I need some thinking music.
But lots around. Anyway, thanks to Hugo. Thanks to
I'm
everybody.
leaning towards coming back,
Oh.
Ryan, but I'll have to talk to management.
Yeah. You might need a bigger.
Do you know a good manager?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sikorsky.
Yeah, plenty of trust in Sikorsky.
Very good.
Let's go.
All right, gents. Thanks for that. Thanks, Kenty, for coming on. Obviously, good luck, mate. And until we talk again, see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.